Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Truth Behind the Truth. And the truth behind this tonight, we're running late. Okay.
Yeah, we are running a little bit behind.
We are running late tonight, but hey, with this new time slot and everything that we're on for a little while, we're gonna get together for you, all right? But number one thing with this real fast is that if you have logged in, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, you will get notification, when we come live. All right. So your social media, if you have that set up to get notification from us, you'll be able to come live. And then soon we're going to actually start with a text message system that will come on, and it'll text you when it comes live. So I'm looking into that as well, so you won't miss a minute of the truth behind the truth. All right, wherever we show up, who knows? We all may show up in the middle of the night.
Ooh, not in the middle of the night.
Oh, I'll be asleep.
Hey, I know that's right.
I mean, those who will go to sleep will be asleep.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, my goodness.
But you'll be surprised. I know we got to get into the show, but you'll be surprised that there are so many people that are on live, typically on Instagram, late at night. And then you get those notifications. You know how they it seems like you're following somebody, but you're not really following them. But they click. But you go to the top page of your Instagram. You have all these people on live. I mean,
let's interrupt that and say, like this post, like it in Facebook, like it in YouTube. Make sure if you sign up, subscribe. We need your subscriptions to make this go further. So please like it if you see it and you want to do it. Share it with your friends and everyone else to make sure that they see it and let them be a part of this party. This party is always about citizens and making sure that American people do what they need to do, because we can't go any further unless we all join together.
All right. Look. All right, thanks for joining us tonight, y'all.
Truth
behind the truth. It is. I mean, and appreciate that, Charles. It is. I mean, we've got to find a way to come together, on all levels with this. Even the communication that we do, or week by week being here. I mean, it's been a while. I say it all week. We say it all the time. It's just been 5 years that we've been trying to help people out.
Well,
I mean, it has. It's been 5 years. I mean, we started, just as COVID was breaking out.
Oh, yeah.
And we thought that we would share some entertainment factors and things like that.
We did.
And we did. We did.
As much as we could. But, right now, in this time and space, everything, from, let me just say this. I know everybody's trying to get back to business as usual, talking about nonsense, but the whole world is looking at this country, and they're not even thinking about the frivolous celebrity stuff that, or whatever that is, that we entertain.
Right.
They're looking at us from outside.
Right.
They're saying, what's going on? What's going on with this country? What are the Americans going to do?
Right.
There are a lot of people who are worried about this country. They're worried about where it is going. I mean, you even brought up the fact that, France wants the Statue of Liberty back.
Right.
So it's just the fact that the world is like wondering, what is it that is happening with the United States?
Right.
And are we able to rely on these new United States to do what it's always been called to do, to galvanize a whole nation of countries together and get things done. So, as much as when we started the show 5 years ago, we were talking about relationships, we were talking about sexuality, we were talking about, we went as far as talking about male hygiene.
Yes, we did.
But right now, I mean, at this point in time in life, that is important, but it's freedom is now more important than that at this point.
Yes, it is.
So,
I mean, and you very well said it. I mean, the dynamic of humanity has shifted so much within that 5 year time frame. And, one of the things that I think most people said about COVID, a lot of people thought COVID was good, not so much the dying aspect of it, but the part that it forced people to really take a look at themselves, and because you were in close quarters, you couldn't go anywhere, because most of the time, everybody does have things in their life going on for escapism.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is why they can't stay at home and, be with themselves, and be with one, long periods of time, and, and things of that nature, and that's that our minds are so active in a way that it should be inactive, into that point. And because of that activity, we just can't sit still. It's like, what is it? Most Americans are having, was it ADD? ADHD or whatever it is, you know, I'm just like ADD. Hey, immune deficient, ADHD, immune different in the alliance, you know, whatever it is, you know, but it is, and it's you know, that time this is a very sad situation for people, you know. And now rolling into where we are with things, I mean, it's even more of a strange, you know, catalyst of stuff that's going on. I mean, you know, from one day to the next, something's being cut away, something's been wiped away, something is not being able to be done the way that it used to be. You know, that what I won't say used to be, but one thing you've always said, you watch how things go back. I always lovingly corrected you about saying things are going back. It can never go back to what it was, but it can have remnants of what it was. You know what I'm saying? Because
I have breaking news.
Yes.
The federal judge just blocked Trump from the administration from banning transgender people from the military.
Service. Good.
That just happened.
Good.
But you know what's so funny even about that, Charles, is that, you know, remember there was not too long ago, and probably was it yesterday when the plane took some of the Venezuelan they called them a gang criminals, took them over towards, you know, to that country. You know, they were supposed to send that plane back.
Right. There were two of them.
Yeah, but they've been fighting that particular judge, and I wouldn't be surprised. But now that this breaking news have, you know, that you have come out with this judge now implementing that they cannot do this, they're gonna fight this judge to the nail about, you know, the fact that, you know, well, they can't override the president. See, this is the crazy thing about this situation with, and I always say, we said this some time back about how fragile democracies are.
Yes.
This is the test of the fact that this man he's overriding judges right now.
Right.
And this, what really makes of a dictator is the fact that there are people who are there Republicans and certain Democrats who are on certain people within the higher ranks that are allowing this.
Yeah.
So he's going to go as far as he would want to go to get what he can get.
Yeah.
And and to be honest with you, thankfully we do have some Democratic judges out there who are still going by the books.
Yeah.
But you still got spineless politicians in Washington who just keep this thing going because they want to see how far he'll go. Yep. And that's crazy right now. Do you agree, Charles?
Yeah, the border czar had the nerve to say, we don't care what the judge says. We don't care what the leftists say. We don't care what anybody says. We're going to do what we got to do. Now, if a black man said that, do you think you'll be watching me right now? They'd be coming through my door trying to throw me down and handcuff me, and take me in as some type of terrorist. There's no way in hell you can allow anyone. And this is my thing. How do you overstep the boundaries of law and order and say that you're for the law and order or the blue badge, the blue shield of protection, and yet you don't respect it? You let the January 6 people out after they kill officers who are out there doing their job. And now you're going to say that you want unlimited, no liability for anything you do when you kill people or hurt folks because you're the police. Then you want to stop and frisk. Man, come on, bro. I mean, we got to be real about this. There's no way in hell we can allow these things. God, this is worse than Jim Crow. This is slavery.
Thank you for saying that. You know, I mean, and really, I mean, it really is. I mean, I you know, the thing that gets me to a point that I sometimes lose words is that I just can't believe that American people are allowing this. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to sound like I'm stuck, you know, in that particular position, but I feel like I am, because every day that there's something going on that they're not honing into the responsibility that's out there as American citizens. You know, and go ahead.
No, I got something for you. Okay, so look at the Civil War.
Right.
Over 90% of the guys who fought in the Civil War couldn't afford slaves, couldn't even afford a farm. They were basically out there fighting to survive, get a paycheck, and to support the rich folks who had farms full of slaves and had legacy to all the riches in the government and so forth. So they would rather fight and die with those who have, or those privileged folks, those oligarchs, and just to keep black folks from being a part of this country and being a significant force within it. And that's crazy.
It's nothing new underneath the sun, because at the end of the day, it's all about the haves and the have-nots. And then you have, and I keep saying this all the time, the working class Americans, I think we just some of us like to be pimped, because that takes away the responsibility and the accountability for our own situation. At the end of the day, we want somebody rich to come and tell us when to get up, when to go do this, when to go do that, because we don't want no accountability for our own situations. I always say we wouldn't be in this situation if the working class American would put away its differences, because the way these rich people, they know how to separate us. They know how to separate us through religion, through sexuality, through gender. You have manospheres, you have rich child trafficking men on these streaming sites telling men how bad women are, and how, you got, the gays are doing this and all this. These are child traffickers. These are people who are also infiltrate our music industry. People like academics. People like this Tristan, whoever.
Academics is a gossip guy. Academics does trivia. I mean, not trivia, but a social media. He keeps up with everybody that's doing what they do. He's a reporter, so he doesn't really have an influence other than giving you the information you receive. And and I'm gonna expound on what you just said. This is my biggest problem with. Well, let me go and be the devil.
All right, go ahead.
No, just be the information.
Black people is we spend too much time trying to find a savior. We've been taught through the slavery days of who we got to look to. 400 years of praying. 400 years of praying. Yeah, be mad at me. My DMs, send them in. I've been getting them lately a lot about these people mad at what I say, but I don't care. We spend too much time worried about when Jesus gonna take us out of this. We don't vote because we want God. God would never do this to us, but God's doing it. And I'm going to figure, when do you stand up and be accountable for you? When are you going to say what you have to say? Take your own steps.
Teach the truth behind the truth.
But it's clear across the board, though. You're looking for it in the church. You're looking for it in the White House. You're looking for it wherever you can look for it, even on social media sites.
That's my
We're
point.
all looking for a savior. That's why I always say that the greatest love of all is the most powerful message within music, because Michael Master and Linda Creed knew what they were talking about, because the greatest love of all is within yourself. You need to stop looking and following people. And that's the problem with Americans. That's why we got Trump in the White House right now. We're looking for a billionaire. We're looking for a billionaire to protect us, to keep us going. And they're not worried about us.
Yes, life is not a business. Life is not a business. You can't dictate us with black and white. You go to work, you leave here on this time, you go do your chores or your priorities, and you leave here at this time, and we pay you. That's not how life is. That's business. Business. And they keep saying we want a businessman to run the country. And Trump hasn't done nothing successful in his whole life. So why are we looking at somebody who's a 30-something convicted felon, 2 times impeached, had filed bankruptcy 6 times, all this, and he's the guy we want us to lead us. I think it was Lyndon B. Johnson said it best.
And about the bankruptcy,
treat the poorest white man as if he can be over the highest black man. He'll follow you, and you can pick his pockets, and he'll never know you're in there.
Yep, that's
and it goes back to what you said about the Civil War. Lyndon B. Johnson was from Texas. He knew of the South. He knew what made the working class white man tick. That's why he did what he did. But the fact is, going back to the Civil War, that's who were fighting all throughout the South, and all throughout the North were poor folks who thought, well, I can get ahead by just getting in the army and fighting and doing that. No, they just needed bodies. They needed bodies like they have always needed bodies in each and every war that has came across. That's why I keep saying, I think the rich right now are trying to bait us into another world war because they need an investment.
Yeah.
They need an investment. You got people like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank on CNN talking about we should fire each and every teacher because the reading and math and science scores are low. Okay, then fine. I understand what you're trying to get at, But that's not the way to go about it.
No,
you need to understand why. And you had people around him telling him that the reasons why some of these students cannot get ahead is because of the area code. It's because of the funding. Hold on, because of the funding and where the money is going. Because that should be honest. Most of the funding that the Department of Education is sending out to whatever public school that it's sending out to don't always go to all of the schools. They don't go to all of the schools. They just, you just can't go in and just wipe, the slate clean like that.
I'm just going to push back on what you said just a little bit. The only reason I'm pushing back on this because this is like you both of you are articulating very well. The reason why we have that issue there is that there's no family investment. Okay. There's no family investment, okay, because we're expecting the teachers to do what mother, dad, or whomever is not doing in their homes.
If they can be in the home without working.
My point.
If they can be in the home without working.
But that and here's the thing. This is my little pushback with that. Then that becomes more of an excuse. Okay, you know what I'm saying? It becomes more of an excuse because your mama worked. My mama worked. Charles' mama worked. Charles' mom and dad worked. My mom and dad worked. But guess what? Tired as hell. My mama would sit down at the table with me and make sure I did my homework. That she couldn't answer, she would try to find out for me. I'm sure your mom was that way too, Charles. At the end of the day, and the family investment. And I'm not trying to make it the nuclear family. All right, understand. Because we don't have the nuclear family any quote unquote anymore. It's like these Republicans, everybody wants to stab, and we'll never have that type of thing. It's a part of society. The nuclear family is, but that's not because it's two men together. It's a nuclear family. Two women together. It's a nuclear family. Okay, man and wife together. It's a nuclear family. Black versus white. It's a human family. Interracial. It's a human family. Okay, this is the dynamic of the family. Okay, now in the family movement. One of the problems is, as you said earlier, trying to push people back to an understanding that will never go. We were going to go into, and I'll say that conversation in a little bit, but to what you said a minute ago, is that because there's no family investment anymore, and the parents don't feel responsible or obligated to make sure that their children are learning. So it has gotten to a point where everything pushed toward the government of the expectation of why children should be learning. It's got to start at home.
It's got to start humble.
You got to be told to sit your ass down and read your book, okay, and whatever the case may be, and spend time in that. But when you don't, because mama on whatever that video TV on, mama trying to make her TikTok videos and her OnlyFans videos and everything else that go along with that. I'm just using mama as an example, dad too, and they are so wrapped up into their own thing, and then they want to make the school system responsible for what the children are doing. At the end of that, but go ahead. But
I'm going to let you speak after what I say. What I'm going to say, Charles, is the fact that we need more people like Akbar Cook. He's the principal at Westside High School in Newark, New Jersey. He created the free laundromat at his school because he knows that some of his students do not have proper clean clothes, and that is
why.
That's a good question. Why is that?
Right.
And that could have been that's a plethora of all types of excuses and stuff for that. But let's just be honest. Everybody in the United States do not have the luxury of staying home because they have to work.
Right.
They have to work. And to be honest with you, it's one of those things that I wish in certain parts of the country that it was easy for a parent to have some form of outside help. My mom had help. She had my grandma.
Right.
My grandma helped us when my mom was not there to assist us in our homework But a lot of people do not have that luxury, and that's also another form of that's the truth behind the truth. You got to have a community of people to help you to raise children. Go ahead, Charles.
I want to co-sign on that, and of course, I'm going to put a spin on it. Everybody wants it to be the way it used to be, but nobody wants to comply to how it needs to be. That's the problem.
There you go. Right there.
I want a man who used to take care of home and pay all the bills. Yeah, but you want to go out with your girls and party and take vacations, girl trips, and all. No, that's not how that works. Come on now. Then you want to be able to hang with your boys and play video games. Yeah, but you're not paying all the bills and you ain't taking care of mama when she at home. She's sitting at home watching you, thinking you're gonna spend time with her. You on the video game with your boy. Hey, go left, take around the back, get around the back, do it. There has to be a moment in which we all be accountable. And I say this every week, and I'm gonna say it again. Stop pointing out the window and look in the mirror. If you're always worried about what everybody else doing and not what you're doing, you're not participating or being accountable. You have to be accountable.
This is true. You know, and the time we're going to go to break. The sad part about this and what we're opening up is that it may take America to fall. In order to may take America to fall. We ain't gonna be here, but it may need to take America to fall.
We're gonna implode. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna implode.
We're gonna implode. It seriously, it may take that, and then for people to wake the hell up. I mean, really, it just may take that. But marinate on that for a moment. We will be right back. All right, after this quick break. We'll see you in a second.
Call 844-55-STARZ. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
call Junk Stars.
You need dumpster rentals,
call Junk Stars.
This weekend alone, there are more than 100 protests planned at dealerships, Tesla dealerships across the country, from Brooklyn to Toledo, Dallas to Grand Rapids, Raleigh, dozens more. There are even, as you might see there, a handful planned in Canada and the UK. And I'm going to tell you something. I wager next weekend there will be even more, and the weekend after that more. Because this is growing every single day.
Yeah, great segue into our next segment here. I mean, it is, for what we said in the first segment, and trying to, drive, the idea of humanity in a different direction, let's celebrate the pockets that have already are waking up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. Let's celebrate the pockets that are out there having the town hall meetings, telling their congressmen and whatever what they're gonna do, all that, and I even though what I said going in, to the break about maybe it's gonna take America to fall in order for it to rise again. In the midst of the fall, and if any great fall has ever happened, there's always been great undergirding. Okay, in some sort of way, it has already been brought back. There was this thing and you guys know how I'm an advocate fan of the Roman Empire.
Oh yes,
the one empire. Yes, they were destructive words. Yes, they were brutal. Okay, they were a brutal group of people. In terms of things like that. I know we're going to do a show coming up about. We'll do it around Easter, matter of fact, around crucifixion, the true essence of crucifixion. So we'll save that and dig in that a little more. But anyway, but the one thing about the Roman Empire, there's this article that came out, and it was talking about how where they were, this recent article, where they were, how they came, how they rose to the point. But you know how they rose to the point? Fear.
Oh yeah.
They had the world afraid of them. Everybody was afraid of them for this reason, for that reason. You couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, you couldn't do this, couldn't do this, couldn't do this, all those type of things. And then they rose these ruthless leaders, these Caesars, as they were. It wasn't one Caesar, they were Caesars, okay, and multiple of them. But the problem with those multiple Caesars is that they had all the kind of issues that we're dealing with right now. Okay, this man in the White House, they were pedophiles, okay? They were segregationists. Okay, they were what's the one that they like to see people get killed? What is that?
They were cool.
No. I mean, things that went on the Coliseum. This was a sport for them. There was a reason. There was a certain mindset that wanted
savage.
Okay, savages. Okay, Savage.
And they suffered from PTSD at the earlier stages because everyone had to witness that horror in person, not on TV, not in the video. They saw it in person.
Yes, they did, and sat there and rallied for somebody to get their arm tore off. You know, at the end of the day. So as America may, and just say as the world in this situation, we may not be actually seeing that as a whole, going to an arena like, you know, the hundreds of people that used to go every week to see this event. Okay. But guess what? We still do it. We watch it in our neighborhoods. Okay. We watch it in the same aspect that we started out the conversation earlier, even in our schools, not teaching our kids. It's still a savage behavior.
And as of 2025, this is what we look at.
Yes.
That's true.
That's true. Savage.
They have no shame now with Trump in office. None.
Savage behavior. You know what I mean? And it could lead to the fact of what we did see and happen in the earlier days of Rome. You know, but anyway, so I'm gonna finish up on Rome, but we're gonna go on to the other point. But the thing about it is that what was it about this empire? I knew it was basically because they did operate on fear, but it was the only empire that had gotten destroyed 4 times, and rose back to it again. But each time they rose more ruthless than they were the first time. You know, so I'm just saying personally, I don't want to see America become the Roman Empire, which they can never do because there's not enough brotherhood for that ever to happen. There's too many people against each other in order for them to be on allegiance, you know, with that, because Trump would already been his head would have been cut off already. It was Roman Empire.
But what you said, let me put a caveat on what you just said.
Okay,
we have this thing, and I think it's a cult. The Republican Party, the MAGA people, they feel that destroying it, burning it down to the ground and rebuilding it will make it better. But you have to remember, what was the transition time between those moments? Hundreds of years. It wasn't like 5, 10, 15. It was hundreds of years before they came back. So just burning it to the ground will not make it better. It won't happen in our lifetime or our kids' lifetime or even our grandkids' lifetime.
So true.
So that's the problem we have with, I keep saying that people want too much microwave love. I want it now. I want it the best it can be at this moment. And you can't get all that. Everything takes growth and commitment. And we're not willing to commit and put ourselves in that. Medgar Evers died in front of his home, trying to help us get our civil rights together.
Yeah.
No one's willing to do what we deserve now. No one is. Everybody, I want you to do it.
Well, you know, and piggybacking on that, I mean, you know, you look at the standard of Washington, and you realize is that the expectation that the rest of Americans have about an elected official going in, that they think it's going to be instantaneous. You know, just like, the price of eggs is going to go down on day one. Really? And then, but really to believe that something is going to be that instantaneous. This is why it does take 8 years. It takes 8 to 10 years. It takes because to get people into the level of mindsets. And I'm gonna stop this. I can get deep in that, but I don't want to. How long did it take? Okay, we know when we said it on the show several times, for just a lynching bill to get passed.
Oh God!
How long? You know what I'm saying? To go back and to resurrect the Emmett Till story. Okay, enough to have even just a small portion of people to recognize it. And still, y'all, I'm telling you, still people don't even recognize the story.
No, they don't recognize
They don't know.
It hasn't been that long ago.
It hasn't, but yeah, true.
It
That's
hasn't
true.
been that long
That's
ago.
so true.
I think that's where people that's where people are disconnected. Well, that was in the past. But the past has not been that long ago.
Not even a generation.
Right.
But you know what's also so funny? You talking about people are looking for instant gratification. We've been seeing this since I've been hearing politics. Why can't Bush? Why can't Clinton? Why can't Obama? Why can't this man? Why can't Biden? We as Americans been conditioning ourselves to believe that we should have an autocratic president.
Yeah.
We have forgotten how the 3-tier system works within our government.
Right.
And
actually, we want a savior.
We don't want to. We got to talk about that. I want to bring that back up.
That goes with the fact that there are people who are looking for whoever that will to come and save them, either that be a celebrity or an athlete or whoever, which is so crazy. But the fact is that that's the mindset of Americans.
Right.
You know, somebody said this too also. In order to boycott Trump is to go after the college sports organizations.
Wow.
That's one of them.
They said in order to really put a nudge into what's going on right now is to boycott anything that is of NCAA organization. Am I correct in that, Charles?
That's it.
Of the college sports organizations who really that's a moneymaker. That's a moneymaker. If you really want to get up underneath Republicans and Trump's skin, you have to go after what really keeps them going. That's sports. That's sports.
And see, college is a sugar baby. You need to go after professional, which is the sugar daddy. That's where it needs to happen.
Okay.
That too.
Okay.
But that is the point. And you know what's so funny? You said that, you know, in order for these people to get something that this country has to be destroyed, or you say people want this country to be destroyed. You know who thought like that? I know y'all get tired of us mentioning this man. Hitler thought about that too. He thought about that for the whole of Europe. That's why World War II was there in the first place, to destroy a whole of Europe, to rebuild a mightier Germany. The fact is that this man has that going on in his own. You know, he was at the Kennedy Center building I think it was yesterday, and he was walking through the Kennedy Center talking about how of a disarray it was, how it needed to be built up, fixed up, torn down. This needs to go up. This needs to come down. Jr. Hitler Jr. Oh yes. You know, Hitler always wanted to be an architect. Y'all, you know what? That's what I'm talking about. See, this is where you don't understand. If you don't know your history, you're deemed to repeat it. This man wants more than just being president. He wants to control every nook and cranny of everything that's going on.
He wants to approve every law that we pass, every law that we suggest. It needs to have his approval. But then you remember this, because I used to tell this to people all the time. They say, why Barack didn't do this, and why Clinton didn't do that? And because they have respect for the Constitution. Trump has no respect. He don't give a damn. He even said the court's got to make me stop. See, if they had them kind of balls, and this is what was killing the Democratic Party, is they have no gumption, no backbone, no spine. They won't stand up and fight. They want to go, when Trump won the election, Hakeem got on there and they wanted to smack him in his teeth, talking about something. We're willing to work toward a great relationship and pass bills to get us. The Republicans don't give a damn if you want to pass a bill.
Remember when Obama was elected? What did Mitch McConnell say right out of his mouth? Verbatim. With no respect, no decorum. We're going to make him a one-term president.
Make sure.
See, that's the type of shit I don't understand that gets me about the Democrats. How can you get with these people who have come with so much disrespect? I don't get it. How does that work? How can you rationalize with people who don't want any type of rationalization? They don't believe in rationalization. They don't believe in coming together. Hakeem and Chuck Schumer.
Oh my God, he was on the View today.
Oh yes, they both need their tails whooped, and they need to be out. They need
I'm getting ready to fight back against the norm, and I know this is going to make me hate it, but let me say this: Chuck Schumer is right. And let me explain why.
Go ahead.
Yes, we needed to make a stance, and we need to make a stance strong, but we have to pick our battles. We're the minority. We're not the majority. So we're going to waste all our political capital on nonsense. This is the thing about what happened with Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer's been in, and this is why you need elders. I tell this to people all the time. You can't just get young folks going to step in. You need people with experience. Chuck Schumer knows that once he lets we shut down the government, Trump gets power. He's able to do whatever he wants because now the government's at a standstill. His power is increasing. He can do whatever he wants with the executive executive privilege. And that was such a smart move. I was mad at him at first till I thought about it. I was like, and I told my brother before Chuck even came on TV, I said, you know what? If he lets Trump, if the government shuts down, that means Trump's in charge. He's king. You don't want that to happen. That's even worse than what we get right now. And that's exactly what he got on there and he talked about. Yes,
but
if I gave him that power,
but Charles, the infighting is really so
that's another thing
out there that is really what's messing it all up. Okay, yes, I didn't go along to what Chuck Schumer was doing either. I didn't care for it. I really didn't. I thought it should have shut that. I didn't care. I really could care less right now, to be honest with you. And I ain't trying to be funny, But to be honest with you, I'm so ticked off with the fact that this woman didn't get in. Whatever goes down, gonna go down regardless for me.
Yes.
Because anybody who needs Social Security, anybody who needs disability, anybody who needs food stamps, anybody who needs free meals on wheels, these were the very same people who voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And
but check this out. The thing about that, the twist on that is, do you know how long it would take to get that stuff back implemented?
I know.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah, we can stand and make a stand and let it all shut down and watch it burn, then they blame the Republicans. But do you know how much it would take? How much political capital it would take to put all this back in effect? And that's where I gave Schumer his props. I said he thought about it and he realized the last shutdown, they were passing executive orders. You can't let Trump have that kind of power. Once you shut the government down,
Democrats going to do PR-wise? See, this is where it all comes down to the wire.
Same thing Sonny said today on the
The fact is, okay, y'all did this. Okay, so where's the PR spin? We kept the government open because X, Y, and Z. When are y'all going to stand up and tell the American people this is what we did because of this?
Nice guys finish last. That's them.
And that's the problem with
that's the biggest problem.
That is the problem because the American people don't know where the Democrats stand with anything. They
don't know how they don't know the language. They don't know how to relay what they're talking about. That is their biggest problem. Man, it's the biggest. Even Biden.
I don't know why that is such a problem.
I don't either. You got Bernie Sanders, you got AOC, you got whole lady Jasmine Crockett out there doing it all on her own, which I wish she would sit down somewhere, hopefully, and get herself some rest. Because I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm tired of black women putting themselves out there on the docket like this. AOC need to get her ass out there and do some more talking, regardless, because I ain't seen her.
She stopped when they started threatening her life, and then they cut her protection back.
Hey, I'm so sorry. You can't be scared and be a politician. Now, if Jasmine Crockett with her big hair and big lashes and lipstick is going out there and doing her thing and still getting death threats, what's the problem?
You got to remember the difference. Jasmine Crockett is black. She's used to this kind of pressure. She's understanding how this works. AOC is a
wimp.
A little bit. She's a former bartender who's now in government politics. The thing about it is sometimes, and like she said, there was times she was risky. She don't have protection. She don't have security. You know, that money they get when they first come there is not enough to go out there and buy security and put alarms all on your house. She had to deal with that. And she said it got scary. People were talking about killing her. And then after Nancy Pelosi's husband got attacked, they all got scared. It was like, whoa, I got to think about this.
And I understand. I feel for her with that. But that's where I want to be honest with you, Jasmine. I'm like, girl, you are out here doing what needs to be done. But I'm tired of you doing this all by your damn self.
So where you at?
One man,
where you at?
All by yourself.
Where you at? You got to be in there. Where you at? That's the key. We busy worried about what Jasmine and everybody else doing. Where are you at? What are you doing? And how are you speaking up?
Right. So true.
I love you to pieces, but hey, you got to be in that thing too.
We were talking about Jasmine the other day. What was the day before yesterday? We were talking about Jasmine, and then and it's so sad that the pushback that she's getting from black women. It's
not black women. It's the operatives. It's the Republican operatives.
It's those bots.
Black
those AI bots
to dismantle what she is saying. That it ain't black women as a totality. They know what they're doing. To be honest with you, you just hearing certain few black women.
And you got to remember, they have the AI bots that do that. They circumvent and talk, and we don't fight back, and we get, oh, look at what they said. I used to didn't read comments. I read them now. I comment, I like and dislike, and I make sure that my voice is heard. And this is the thing I tell people all the time. My mom asked me a while back, she's gonna flip out. She said, why don't you get in politics? And the only reason I don't, and I hate to say this publicly, but hey, I got no shame. My divorce put me in a situation where I can't do it because going to jail. My thing is, I still fight. I still speak. I had to say to myself, man, well, you going to just roll over and let people do what they do to you? I can't. And how can I preach to you about what are you doing if I'm not doing anything?
True. Well,
that's I mean, I'm the same way.
If that's the case, then most of them up there should do what you're doing, Charles, and sit on the waist. They're not doing anything up there. They are all a bunch of hot air and making money. making deals.
That's
I hate to say it, it's the new game in politics. Those you can tell, and I'm so sorry, but all of those who've been there since I don't know when, they need to go ahead and retire because they have made their money. Right. They have made a whole lot of money and have. But
remember this though, and I know you as a scholar knows this, and a scholar of history or someone who loves the history. You need experience. You can't just throw the people who've been there and gone through these things to the wayside just because they're old. There's value in age and wisdom. We need that in our society, and that's one of the problems we have right now. We don't look at our older people and at least get the knowledge. We too big, get out the way. Let me get in there. And I'm gonna beat her, and I'm gonna do it. Somewhere in there, you have to listen. There has to be some understanding. There has to be some absorption of what history is. And like my dad used to always say, you want to hide anything of value from black folks, put it in a book. We ain't gonna read. We ain't gonna look at it. We not gonna get involved because we just. And then my boy told me, me and my brother had this conversation every day. He says, "Bro, I tell people about how political you are every day, and they don't understand, what's going on. And you turn me on." I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Then they always say, well, man, I got my house. I need to." They don't care about nobody else but themselves. As Kobe said, ain't no iron team, but there's a we in that motherfucker. And that's what they believe in, we. And, or me. I'm sorry, not a we, but a me. Me. That's what they worry about. Me. What do I get? Look at Ice Cube. Look at what's his name? The rapper down here. I forget his name, but it's out here telling everybody don't vote till we get something.
Killer Mike.
Yeah, Killer Mike. And that pisses me off because you're a leader and you have a voice, and you took the masses away from her. I wanted to play it tonight. There's a clip where a forensic, accounting and forensic from the FBI put together what happened with the election. Man, maybe I'll play it next week. And he talked about all the votes they purged and stole, and they did it in plain sight. And we don't fight that because the Republicans will go out there and have hearings for years. We won't even make a hearing. Don't want to waste the taxpayers' money. Don't want to make people upset with us. We just want to be here. Kumbaya. That is crazy. Man, where's your fight?
We've been doing that since Obama. Basically, and that's the problem.
Before then.
Even before then.
Before then, you're right.
I saw it when I saw this with Obama. I saw this with the fact that, how they escorted Al Green out of the
they all should have walked out with him. Why didn't they walk out with him?
The fact is that they threw him out. But I remember when that guy told Obama, "You lie." Obama. I remember when
Marjorie Taylor Greene came with all that damn what Bring America Back or whatever the hell that red hat. She had, and you're not supposed to wear political paraphernalia in the damn house, but she wore.
They didn't what they call it,
because
walk her up out of the place.
Right. Because the Democrats were in charge. We don't want to make waves. We want everyone to feel okay. It's like the parent who says, I'm not going to whip my child. We're going to talk. And we're going to have a conversation over what's making you unhappy. I'm going to beat his ass. Skip all that talking to him, getting how he feel. He don't know how he feel until I show him.
Right. That's
America. Well, I can tell you this. With Tesla's stock going down, not only Tesla, but Target, but Walmart.
There's a video of Elon Musk almost in tears.
You got
the video he said telling about his stock, and he's going, he's damn near in tears because he's going to be broke. He leveraged himself so deep based on the damn orangutan. He just knew that the orangutan was going to do whatever he needed, and now his stuff, he out there.
Yeah,
$250 billion lost since January.
Yes, that's well, they say how to kill a rich man, hit him in the pocket.
That's it. How to kill a ding ding. Kick him in the ding ding. That's what it says. That's all that matters.
Exactly. But so I'm gonna throw the question out there. In one part, I think now, guys. Thank you guys that tuned in, Greg and Benjamin and those that were those that are watching. Put it in the comments about what you guys think that's going on in your opinion. Okay, let us address your opinion. Yeah. All right, we like to hear from you in terms of what we're discussing. And hopefully those that see the re-airing of these shows, you can still put it in the comments, and we'll see it later at a later time. definitely put it in the comments, okay? Because we want to hear you in this conversation. What are you learning from us? Okay, I know Greg sent us a message a few weeks back about it. He said he would enjoy the platform. He wished more people were paying more attention to what we were saying. And Greg, thank you for that. We really appreciate that because it is a learning thing, and it has opened up his understanding about where we are as people and a country. You know, and it's very powerful. We've covered every smoke. And then even back a few weeks ago when I went on my rant, I know I had to apologize for some of the stuff I said. I ain't apologize for all of it, but it's basically regurgitating what you guys said tonight, just in a different format. You know, because we got to wake the fuck up. I'm serious, you know, and these institutions of information, like you said, Charles, it takes a while for something to be able to change. Mm-hmm. So how many people are out here looking for saviors? Okay, we run to the wrong house looking for a savior. Because if you're a Christian, you already know that Jesus is supposed to be your savior, and you believe that, then why are you still looking for a savior? Okay, you'll become your own savior at that point, but I'll say that till after the break.
Martin Luther King said it best. He said, I fear with segregation, I led my people into a burning house.
Wow.
And I don't know how to get out of it.
Woo. All right, we'll say that one after the break.
All right.
We'll be right back, guys.
If you need a pickup, call Junk Stars. Yeah. If you need a dumpster or a demolition, call Junk Stars. Yeah. Call 844-55-STARZ. Junk Stars. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
call Junk Stars.
You need dumpster rentals,
call Junk Stars.
All right, and we are back, guys. Mm-hmm. So we left out. What did we lose, Charles?
We might have lost him.
Hope we didn't. But anyway, he'll find his way back. So as I was saying, I was throwing a question out there for you guys. You know, what are you willing to do? You know, what are you willing to do to at least start a conversation in your communities? You know, about what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. I heard one person say that the whatever particular place you choose to go and worship or whatever, you know, at a point, if you walk out of there and your life is not changed, you need to leave. You know what I'm saying? You really need to leave because you're not, and this goes back into finding a savior. I mean, how many times are we going to continue to keep thinking that the savior of the world is not the savior of the world? Okay, because we don't believe what he's done. I mean, we really don't. You don't believe what he's done when you keep doing the same thing you do. You know,
but it's not always, and it's not only that type of platform. No. You know, to be honest with you, go ahead.
So, but what I'm leading with that is that this inevitable. I'll just read Greg's comment. Inevitably, you become your own savior. Okay, and that does not mean salvation from whatever you think people are going to end up at when they die, but it does mean from the situations that you deal with each and every day. A savior is there all the time, but you've got to be there all the time for yourself. And rather than looking for somebody to come along and be that savior for you, okay? And I'm just talking about, I ain't talking about the eternal and all that. I'm just talking about the pure mere fact of being your own savior. But we feel like we don't have that power. You know what I'm saying? I know you don't. But you know, for the majority and for the masses, they feel like they don't have that power. You know what I mean? They feel like they don't have the ability to be their own savior.
To critically think for them.
Critically think for yourself, and seeing that opens up another Pandora's box too, you know, of levels. But go ahead, Charles, put Greg's comment back up. We missed it, and I was running my mouth. If you can.
So it appears we are being trapped in the burning house. Who hid the tools to prevent us from breaking out? Keep up the great work, guys.
Thanks,
That's a good question.
It is.
Who prevented? Well, who hid the tools? Who hid the tools to prevent it? Well, I mean, I put it out there. Go ahead and say it.
I think we hid the tools for myself. To be honest, Greg, I really do. You know, because we have information. We have had information. We have been told things, okay, and we don't act on the things that we're told. You know, somebody comes along and gives a better idea, and they swip and go this way. Somebody gets paid off, like Charles said earlier on, you know, and they go a different way. You know, and we talk about state and local. I ain't talking about the national and federal level at this point. You know, and we have been bought. You know, and we get bought, and we keep getting bought. Mayors get bought. Okay, councilmen right in your city get bought. You know, and you see. Now let's talk about right there in Atlanta. Oh my God, how many people that were on the city council got bought over the years? Doing back to what's his name, Bill Campbell, doing back to way back to his administration and things like that. Oh my God, there was so much rhetoric going on. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, and you're like, whoa. And these people, somebody come along and say, well, you know what? You keep this little bill hidden. Hey, I'm gonna pad your pocket. I give you $100,000 to keep your mouth shut. Oh. Okay, you know, and right there on that particular level, but nobody takes a stand against that particular level. Nobody calls these people out.
That's the key. The tools aren't hidden. We just don't want to see them. I hear people every day go, I don't get into politics. Dude, everything you do is politics.
Hello.
The clothes you wear is politics. The seatbelt you wear is politics. The stop sign in your street is politics. Your house taxes are politics. The fact you can't say what you want to say is politics. Come on, how do you not get involved in politics when that's with your whole world? The whole world is connected to politics.
Right. You know, let me say that Dad's got a problem. You struck a nerve. You said the clothes you wear. It's kind of a light moment, but it's kind of saying we are collectively fans of the Devil Wears Prada. Probably seen it 200 times, maybe. But there's a line in The Devil Wears Prada where Amanda Priestley was addressing Anne Hathaway's character about the garment that she had on. And she said to her, even what the garments you wear are political. She said the decisions are made by the very people in this room that flumpy blue sweater that you have on is made, the decisions are made by these people in this room. So it's political on every aspect of it. And again, in cinema, it's, you know, being identified. That there's a lot with that in cinema. I mean, we can go back to Goodfellas. We can go back to what was it, Five Angry Men, and all of those, you know, those cinemas. I'm not changing the conversation, but just kind of, you know, all of those things that are a part of it. But go ahead with your point, man.
Well, you know, I always feel like at the end of the day, you need community to thrive. And to be honest with you, I haven't probably said this out loud, but I've always thought this, that we as a people need a cultural reset. We do. We need a cultural reset. I feel like at times we have integrated ourselves in such a society that we have, you know, when you're going into whatever you're going into and you're in there by yourself with no connection, with no type of, you know, of somebody to kind of guide you and help you. You're in there with, you know, people who don't understand and don't get you. And that's what I'm trying to get at. As a whole total person, you're in there by yourself, and you, as that one person, can be attacked on all sides. Right. You know, and that's the thing. I wish as Black folks, we will understand that, yeah, we have strived, we have did what we were supposed to do. We fought for our justice, and we fought for our rights. But then on top of that, we have to remind ourselves that everybody who is not of us did not forget about their own community. Right. They didn't forget that, you know, well, if I can get to the door, I can get Johnny and Ray through the door. Right. Hopefully they'll do, you know, I can mentor them, I can guide them, I can do the best that I can for them. But if they fail, they just fail. But that's not going to stop me from bringing in Sally and Sue, who can come in and take their place. That's the problem. I see it all the time, even on my job. I go into a warehouse, there's only a few of us and a whole bunch of Hispanics. But I get more, and I'm not trying to throw Black folks underneath the bus. I think we just need to get better with communication amongst each other. If no competition, we got to get rid of competition. That's why I get so tired of our celebrities always pitting one against the other. That's why I don't get into this Kendrick Lamar Drake shit. I don't. I think it's just another ploy by a rich white man to say, "I told you so." As long as we keep pitting them against each other, we'll make some money off of it. That's the problem with Black folks. Who is the number one MC? Why does it matter? Who is the number one singer? Who's the number one performer? Who's the number one actor? Who's the number one this? Who's the number one that? Great competition, but it doesn't matter. We're all winning.
Right. What's the purpose?
And you can't even go to a family reunion without competition. Right. All right, look at my car. Look at my house. Look at this. Well, okay, then it's great. It's great. I got a house too. I got a car too. It's not as big as yours, but I feel like I'm winning as well as you are winning.
What's the next conversation? But go ahead.
But why are we always in competition with each other? And that is my biggest gripe with our community. We're always belittling, beating down on each other when it boils down to some type of an agenda that we're trying to push. Right. Whether you're trying to date outside your race, either you're trying to build up your body, either that you're trying to make more money. We're always beating down on each other, and that is our biggest gripe. That's the tools we need to get rid of in order to get ourselves out of that damn burning building.
Right. True. Good point. So I'm segueing into our last topic for tonight, but very 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 eloquent point about that. Anthony Mackie had. Well, I think he was on the Breakfast. He was on the Breakfast Club. A few days back, and the question came about the table.
It wasn't the Breakfast Club.
What?
It was another platform with the football people on there. I forget what it's called, but go ahead. I'll look it up.
So he was posed a question on what is success? How does one obtain success? And I think this goes right in line as to what we were talking about right here. And he said, success is not earned; it's given. And you and I talked about that the other night on our business meeting, Charles, and things like that, and where the line of how we view success. Okay. And I have to agree with him. Success is given, but how is it given? Do you give it to yourself, or do you want somebody else to give it to you, and then you feel validated? Okay. Success is based on your own idea of how you see yourself in the process. And you'll always hear me say, taking it back to you, taking it back to you, taking it back to you. But I want to open that up just for the last few minutes of the show about where we are in this scheme of understanding success. And maybe this will empower our audience to look at things on another level, as you were saying at that particular point. But Charles, go ahead. You can.
Okay. So if I may share.
Sure.
If I may share, I'm going to share personal information. Okay, so as a child of the 60s, born 61, I feel I've been blessed to be in the struggle, born in the struggle, to see it firsthand, I was born in South Side Chicago. During the time they went to Marquette Park and King got hit in the head with a brick. They had the Rainbow Push, all the things that people talk smack about. I was there to see, and my family was a political family. We watched the elections on TV, on one TV with an antenna. Take that TV, the antenna around the side, hold it to this way, hold it, and we all watched as a group. I sat as a child and on the floor watching the grown-ups talk about it and discuss what politics was. Who this represented, Mayor Daley. During that time, Mayor Daley, the Don, he ran Chicago. And I got a chance to listen to him firsthand say, that club down the street, he owned that. His name ain't on it, but he collects money there. That was his people to go. All that stuff happened in my purview. So it gave me an opportunity to actually be in the moment. And I tell this to people all the time. It takes, and like Donald said, it takes a village, but the village has to be solid. It can't just be a bunch of people hanging out on the corners and listening to Marvin Gaye and drinking. That's not what's going to get us there. It has to be some substance to what's going on. My family, though they're not the most political, they were political. They talked about the elections. They watched it as a whole. We watched the NCAA championships. We watched the Super Bowl. We watched the NBA finals. We watched it as a family. And I got the chance to listen to the older folks speak their knowledge and their wisdom on what has passed. That is not what happens now. Now kids don't want to hear what you guys say. That was your day. That's back when you was there. It's different now. Not understanding or respecting the fact that we're all in, like Donna said earlier, we're in a transition. Hitler is a repeat, or no, he's the original of what Trump is. He ran 3 times. He won. He lost. He came back and he started his dictatorship and he ruined everything. He had the rich Jews following him because they felt like because we got money, we're not like them other Jews. And when he got rid of all the other Jews, he said, now your turn. They go, what we thought? No, you still Jews. That ain't make no difference. You just helped us with our agenda. And it's the same with black folks who say around, we niggas for Trump and all that other stuff. That drives me crazy. When do you look at what's happening and let it let it sink in that it's you. You're not missing anything. You're going to be that person too eventually. FAFO. I put that everywhere I go now because it's so true. You mess around and find out because you don't participate or open yourself up to discussions. And just like with you all, true, we don't agree, but I listen because there's some wisdom in there that I might need to pick in there and change my mind. I can't just say, no, JB, no, darling, you ain't. That's not how that works. Until we understand that we're not the ruler of knowledge and we have to get it from somewhere else, we will never have that key because we're so busy fighting off what other people say because I got to be the star. I got to be the smartest guy. I got to get my point across. The hell with what everybody else thinks.
Right. Absolutely. Go ahead, man.
You know what? And that platform that Anthony Mackie was on was the Pivot podcast.
Okay.
The Pivot podcast. That's what it was. Yeah. But the fact is, and this is, a lot of people took what he said. And, you learn as you get older that a lot of people don't listen. No. They take what they can take and run with it. Even when it came down to the fact that he was talking about the loss of masculinity in this country, which I understood where he was coming from. Now, don't get me wrong. I kept saying to myself, I understand why this is important to discussing, to talk about, because that was the situation with the election. Right. A lot of, and that's what people tend to think Trump as is there's this masculine, whoever he's supposed machismo that is missing in these United States. But that's not. We don't. Oh boy! Let me say one worldview of masculinity is not the totality, and it's not authentic to what a man should be. At the end of the day, we're all going to come from different utopias. Right. We're going to come from different situations, and I'm so tired of people putting that one word. I understand that people want men to be a certain way and look a certain way, dress a certain way.
Let me jump to
Go ahead and
No. This is a little funny. So when did not washing your ass and having dirty fingernails make you more masculine than anybody else? I'm serious. I mean, that's part of what you're saying.
I'm gonna take it another step. My ex-wife used to always tell me what a real man is. I'm like, what? You used to be a man? Well, a real man would do this. I'm like, hold on. So what are you trying to tell me? Is something you didn't tell me when we got together? What are you trying to tell me what a real man? And then what is your example or your experience? Because you didn't even have a dad in the house. So I'm trying to figure out when you found out what a real man was, where that definition come from.
But that's the $10,000 million question. What is a real man? What is? Nobody can answer that. Okay, because really they can't. In all honesty, you cannot answer that question.
Most black women will want James Evans to come back alive. That's what they really want. James Evans. They want somebody to come and take some form of control over the household. But the fact,
but that still is not a man.
That's not the full.
That's a male.
You know what I'm saying? And then this particular conversation we may roll that over to another show, because I'm telling you what just society in general to try to put this mystique on what a gendered species has to be.
But we're a kaleidoscope of a lot of stuff.
Thank you.
We do not come in one little vase. We are a kaleidoscope. A lot of people, we are just different. We're not going to come as what you would think.
He's a darker man than I am.
Damn, you know.
I'm a lighter bird colored man than I am, but it didn't change him from being a man. Charles wears a little. I love Charles frames, and his is a little bit larger than my frame. He's still a man. Hey. Charles smiles when Charles has a sensitive side, but he's still a man. Charles is a dad of 4 children and 3 grandchildren.
3 children. Maybe one side baby. Maybe one side baby. I'm not sure yet.
He wrote to his wife as a Russell Simmons, as a Barack Obama. Then they will call you something wrong with that man. He a punk.
Right.
He weak.
That's
he's
what
soft.
I'm talking about.
He's soft. Because why would he? What's with that?
I'm sorry. Did you cry lately, Charles? I'm sorry. You shed some tears the other day. Okay?
Well, yeah, I did. I did. I did the other day. Yeah, I did.
You cried the other day. I mean, so that just robbed you of your manhood.
I listened to Purple Rain and tears just start falling. That's how it happened.
I mean, come on here, really? All of these layers and issues and situations and this. You can't dance. You can't dance.
You can't even eat a banana. You can't even eat a popsicle. You can't sing. You can't wear purple, pink, red. You can't even have white teeth or clean fingernails. It's just come on now, y'all. Really.
And then you wonder why men are so doggone screwed up, okay? Because they don't know who they are. Okay? And it's not nothing. You can't do nothing. You can't do nothing. All right, you can't do nothing. I mean, my God. Anyway, we may dig into that another time because that is the truth behind true men. And I'm gonna throw it out there, y'all, for y'all tonight that's watching, and those that are gonna watch throughout the re-airs. You living in the comments, send us an email, okay, to ttbttshow@gmail about this thing.
You're listening to these child traffickers out here in this manosphere.
But those are men, though.
Those are real men.
Those are real men.
Them child traffickers.
Those grown men.
That's out there in Miami with Trump. They the real men.
They're the real men.
You have your 15-year-old daughter over a banister looking stupid. Right. I ain't trying to be funny, but that is the truth.
That's a real man.
That's the truth.
It's a real man.
That's the bear that you want.
Yep. A real man is rated by the thing between his legs. That's what he rated by. Okay, it's a real man.
That's right.
How big or how small, he's still rated by it. Okay.
And the body counts. You can't forget the body counts.
True. Yeah.
Can't forget the body counts. You got to have multiple people on your arm to be a man.
To be a man. Okay.
Notches on the bedpost.
Gotta be almost be a man, okay?
Was a rolling
so I'm gonna say it again. Okay, I'm gonna let you be a man. Right? But I want to hear about what you think that a man is in your world and what you grew up knowing. So send us an email. Please send us an email. ttbttshow@gmail. All of us, these men want to hear from you. Okay. Right. These men give you information. These men, okay, talk to you straight up and give you life affirming and information about how to change your life and how to make it. That part of us, I think, is a real man. Okay, I think that part of us is a real man. Y'all may question some of the other stuff, but that part of helping humanity is a real man. Yeah. Okay, helping change somebody's life is a real man. Yeah. Okay, speaking truth to power is a real man. Malcolm X spoke the truth to power. Okay, Martin Luther King exactly spoke truth to power. You're a powerful man. And guess what? You are your own savior.
Right.
Okay. So, Charles, thank you for putting that information up there about that. Please support us. Please support us. All of our platforms, you can send some money because these men need some money to keep this thing going. All right. Bottom line, we need some money. All right. Cash App us at TTBTT Show on that. On Venmo at The Truth Behind the Truth. No donation is returned and no donation is rejected. All right. You
can also Reverend Ike say, give me the time to fold, not to type the jingle. That'll work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Classic line from a classic movie, right?
Yes, indeed. Oh, he was a real man too. Okay. He was a real man. Anyway, all right, guys, we do love you so much. Thank you for your time being here tonight. Once again, we will see you guys Tuesday nights. Remember, we're probably for a little bit late, but Tuesday nights. Okay, we are here at 6 p.m. Okay, all right, 6 p.m. The other shows are re-aired. Saturday nights is our normal show time, which will still run at the same time. It's convenient for you, but it will be a re-air of tonight's show during that particular time. But spread the word, like and share, like and share about these real men. Okay, we real men. All right, you real man.
I'm a real man.
Charles, you're a real man.
Yeah, I got my application in.
Oh yeah, that's true. You know, well, we don't want it to get rejected. Okay, so I want you. Are you real man for this, real man for that? But anyway, but please, guys, seriously, send that email. All right, let us hear from you. All right, thanks for being here tonight. We really, really appreciate you from the bottom of our deepest part of our man heart. Okay, I'm gonna ride that. I'm gonna ride that to the end. I'm gonna ride that to the end. Okay, but anyway, guys, thank you again. All right, have a pleasant night. All of you that tuned in tonight, Benjamin, my dear Anna's son, and Tamika, and Greg, and all of you guys that are on YouTube as well, chiming in tonight. Thank you so much, and just share so we can get these ratings up. Get them up. Get them up. We need you. We need you. All right, y'all have a powerful, blessed rest of the week. Yes. All right, don't let that man in the White House get you down. Find a solution to get him out.
Yes.
Okay. Find a solution to get him out. All right. All right, y'all have a great night. Thanks for tuning in to what? The truth behind the truth. Love y'all. Have a good one.